How's everybody doing, folks? I'm sorry we had to start a little early tonight. We got a banger of a guest sitting here, and I don't want this individual sitting in the green room. We were going to do The Walking Dead, believe it or not. We may still get to that. We may make that the Patreon stream on Tuesday, in case y'all are interested. But anyway, I'm going to bring the guest on now. Am I 5x5 before we get started, folks? If somebody can just let me know, we will bring this individual out and get right to it. Thank you, Selling Prepper Dark Secrets. Ladies and gentlemen, Zombie Farmer. How you doing,
buddy? You doing all right?
Can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Trying to get this chat to work on my end.
Oh, let me see here. All right, folks. So there we go. I think we're good. Everybody still hear me okay, Zombie? Can you hear me? Awesome, brother. Thank you. So, in case you don't know, I just dropped a link. He is here on YouTube. Most of you know him. He's a heavy hitter and a good guy. And he drives a Chevy Camaro. For anybody that's interested, that's on his intro. Y'all know how I feel about Chevy, but look, muscle cars are excluded. I love all muscle cars. I think he has an all original. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What made you go with Chevy Camaro?
That was my mom's car.
Was it really?
Bought it almost brand new. And it's been sitting in our barn for many, many years. I think the last time it was tagged was maybe 1999, 2000. And it's been sitting ever since. And I've seen it start to dwindle away. And I finally talked her into letting me have it. And then I restored it. I'm still working on it, but I've got it running back pretty good.
It's all original except for the paint, right?
Absolutely.
There we go. So I want to go over a few of the previous videos that you've done. And I want to start with the most recent one, They Will Come. You're talking about people that are coming eventually to take your stuff.
Yes,
and
sir.
You told a story. I think it was about your parents. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell that story for the lobby here, please?
Yeah, ain't no problem. They actually, a couple days ago, it ain't been too long ago, they was waiting on a package to arrive. And my mom and dad are still of the old school version. You know, they prepare. We're all a group. We all know the things going on around us, but they're still not used to really carrying a firearm on their hip or around the house. You know, we have a K9 up there that's trained for that. But the problem with this particular instance is my dad, he was in another room. The K9 was in the kennel, and my mom heard a vehicle. She thought it was a UPS delivery. She walks outside. It ends up being a car with two individuals in it. These individuals was foreign. I'm pretty sure they was probably illegal. The man did state that his wife was pregnant and that he needed chickens and he needed them now. And what we did when we put our chicken coop.
No asking, he just demanded it?
He demanded it.
Wow.
We built our chicken coop to the back side of the house because we knew if it was in the front, people would complain and stuff. You know how people are in community. Everything has to go toward the rear, but he knew that they was there. He knew what to look for. He knew there was an elderly couple that lived there. So he demanded for it. And of course, my mom, she's high strung. She said, no, we use these chickens for our own personal needs. We collect eggs. We don't kill them. We use them for breakfast and everything else. And she tried talking to him normally, and he kept saying that his wife is pregnant and he needed chickens, and that's what he was there for. Well, my mom looked at the female, and she was real nervous by her words, but she didn't look pregnant. If she was pregnant, it was probably she was real early in the stages. The guy attempted to get out of the vehicle. That's when my mom hollered into the house and said, hollered for my dad and said, "Bring K9 out." His name is Vader. I'll go ahead and tell you his name. Bring Vader out.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and the guy shut the door back, and he said, "Well, I have to have at least one chicken." And she said, "Well, you're not even getting one. Don't get out of your car." And by that time, Dad's working his way out of the house with Vader, and he ends up cranking it up and leaving the place. The whole point to this is we're not even hot yet. We're not even hot. It's not gone collapse full mode Mad Max. And there is people riding around already scoping out your properties. They're scoping out your preps. They watch videos like mine, like yours, like other people on here, and we actually teach them what to look for if you really want to think about it. I know on my videos, I've taught them about pulling water from a well. You don't see well houses no more. People are actually watching that isn't a part of our fold. And, these types of people are going to be a major, major threat, and there will be turf wars in rural America. It's just because you're in rural America doesn't mean that you are safe. There will be warlords. There will be everything will take place just like it will. It just may not be until the population may not be the same.
Yeah, the cities are going to run out of stuff. I mean, fast. And then I'm always telling people over here, they're not just going to sit on their hands out in the middle of the street and starve to death. They're coming out. The thing that worries me about that story, brother, is the idea that they may come back. They know where the house is at. They know who's at home now. They know about the dog, but they may be brave enough or desperate enough. Why just one chicken? That was weird.
I have no idea. I've never had that happen yet. You know what I mean? That's something that I don't even know I don't know. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the guy, she described the guy. She knew is a Toyota SUV. She got all that. She didn't get the tag. I wish she would have, but she didn't. Said the guy was clean cut. The woman was dressed well. Nothing looked out of the ordinary. It was just he demanded the livestock. He didn't offer no money. I mean, he didn't even, I don't know. It's a 6-shooter. What's going on, buddy? And I don't know. It was a very, very troubling experience.
Yeah. So I agree, man. On that same topic, kind of, sort of, I've seen some news reports where now cities, but even some rural areas now are asking for body armor collection for what's going on in Ukraine. They're donating. I don't know if you've heard this or not. They're donating body armor, they say, to the Ukrainian people. And a lot of folks are turning their body armor in. I was going to get your thoughts on that because I probably wouldn't do that.
I would never turn in body armor or any other type of security asset that you have to anybody. I know in World War II, they went around collecting gold, collecting silver, collecting things like that to fund the war and everything else. And you do not give up your preps for nothing.
They're asking right now, but do you think we'll reach a point in this country where they stop asking and they just try and start taking government?
If it gets bad enough here, it will. If it gets bad enough here, it will take place.
Okay. Well, that's not good. But so we agree. I was watching some of your videos earlier today. We agree that we're just at the beginning of a Great Depression. In your opinion, how should people out there be prepping for the Great Depression, for the times that are coming ahead?
First thing, is your faith. Make sure your faith is right, number one.
Oh, that's on tonight's itinerary.
Right. You got to walk close with God. I mean, you got to know Christ as your Savior. You got that took care of, you're already halfway there. As far as surviving and trying to live in these times, it ain't just surviving, like Steve Smith would say. It's thriving during these times. If you can thrive, you need to try. Especially for the families out there who have children. There's just so much to it. You close with God, you got to have your security. Got got to have your, everything you talk about on a daily basis. Food, water, medical supplies, security's top notch. You have to have it. It's just never ending. Prepping don't end. And prepping for these events that we're talking about, look, our financial circus that we're in right now is a joke. It's the biggest balloon. Me and JB was talking earlier. It is the biggest balloon ever. I'm telling you. And just like he stated earlier when I was talking to him before I got on this live stream, the air is being let out of a little bit, causing things to level out. But the prices that they're leveling out at, you can look at land prices, homes, you can look at everything across the store shelves, everything that they have created. This just didn't happen by chance. Every bit of this was created as a part of a bigger plan.
Yeah, I believe so. An agenda. And I mean, with the gas prices and stuff going up, you used to be a truck driver, so that's getting passed off to the consumer as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to continue to get worse.
How do you prep for the inflation, do you think? Wall Street, by the way, is going up. Like, they're still up. They're ballooning the thing like nothing is wrong, I guess.
Well, the protection team, the plunge protection teams are coming in and filling the system. They keep filling it full of the money. The rates are fixing to be raised, I do believe, this week. Another week, they'll raise them a little bit. But at this point, it does not matter anymore. The balloon is already inflated. It's just waiting for the burst. Inflation-wise, hey, I don't know, y'all. I know I work a lot of overtime. I do the best I can. There's really no way to battle it except for do the best you can with what you got. I mean, I don't, that's up to every individual and their family.
Yeah. And you had mentioned in a video that grid down. You were talking about dark ages. Elaborate on that a little bit. Explain to people what that really looks like, because we're not going to have any of the comforts, you know what I mean, that we're used to, I think.
Nobody will come to help you. You will be on your own 100%. And I don't know if people actually realize what that means. I don't know if some people actually understand that you're not going to pick up the phone. Nobody's going to hear you scream. Nobody's going to be there when somebody's knocking in your door. You have to be your own bank. You have to be your own security. You have to be it all. And for the ones out there living in the convenience lifestyle, living in this convenience world that they have created to make us soft and weak, they are not used to the adrenaline. They are not used to the tunnel vision. They are not used to the threat that's right in front of you. And that is a big concern of mine. And I worry that people will basically just lose their minds, even the ones that has tried to survive. And it's scary.
I think about your mom. If she wouldn't have had a man there, if your dad wouldn't have been there, and this would have happened. And like you said, this is before things are really starting to kick off.
Right.
And not being able to dial 911, not being able to, all governments collapsed at that point, and you're literally on your own.
Right.
So I mean, I guess you're getting into farming and homesteading at that point, because you're not going to be able to go to Winn-Dixie and pick something up.
No.
Inflation or not. That's pretty scary.
On the farming and homesteading, that's something I was born and raised in. I've been doing it for many, many years, and I know we have a lot of homesteaders out there. You cannot protect everything. It can't be done. I mean, you can, if you want to bring in more people to your group, well, that's more mouths to feed.
Yep.
It's more water out of your preps. It's more people to worry about. Somebody's got to be in charge. I mean, you just can't have,
somebody not named Joe Biden. Go ahead.
Right. It's a scary thing, and there's a lot of money that goes into homesteading. And I have horses. I have a way to keep them up and feed them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's long term when it comes to farming. If it goes grid down, if it goes complete SHTF, there's going to be so many violent people out there. It's going to be chaos. And we have too many people that will be flooding out of the population centers, and too many people walking the highways because they didn't prepare. They're walking the roads. They're looking. They may try to trade. They may try to talk to you. And you know what? Good Christian people will try to help them. The problem is they're going to come across that one that is just waiting to take everything they have. And it's just, things can change like that.
Let me ask your opinion on this. You're talking about farming and homesteading. Do you worry that we get to a point where the government itself, or what's left of the government, comes in and tries to seize property? Because I've seen that throughout history with other, I guess you would call them takeovers. The Soviet Union, when they were first forming, they went through and just took everybody's land, just marched them off the land. Is that a huge concern for you?
It is, because honestly, I know how people is these days. I mean, if nobody wants to get involved in the local things going on now, what is going to make them come help you? You know what I mean? If nobody will help each other now and back each other up, look how many people that goes through things now that we talk about on our channels, but nobody goes to help. They'd rather send a $5 donation to a GoFundMe site that gets put on something else. You see what I'm saying? Nobody wants to get up and actually do something. So if that takes place, if there is not some sort of coalition that is formed to keep that from happening, which will bring a civil war, I know, I just know that's what will happen. There'll be a civil conflict. It's sky's the limit, man.
Where do you stand on that? I'm going to call it a national divorce, but yeah, civil war. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get flagged or not.
I don't care.
Sometimes, man, I believe it's inevitable. I think we're at the point now to where we're all so divided, even in the Patriot prepper community. There's so much of a divide, and I know you see it just like I see it.
Oh yeah.
It is the turmoil. Well, I see it every day. I deal with people in their worst moments, and I see how families are ripped apart, and that is the core foundation to the reason why that everybody is split, is because the infection started in the home. And it's been infecting like a cancer ever since. It's been spreading. And I just think it has to happen one way or another, whether grid down goes first, financial collapse, whatever's taking place, because folks, a one world government's coming. Whether we like it or not, everything that's taking place was already written in a book. It's already written down. It's already before you. It's up to each individual to open their eyes and actually see what's going on.
Yeah, it's coming. I believe it's coming. I'm still going to try and resist it. You know what I mean? I ain't going to lay down and take it, but it's unavoidable. One of the things that I see talked about a lot in the prepping community here and other communities, an invasion, whether that's at our southern border, whether that's the UN, maybe a foreign power. Where do you stand on an invasion? Do you think it's possible? Obviously, the southern border, they're already experiencing it.
Yeah, we've been getting invaded for a long, long time. As far as another superpower, I would say if this thing keeps spreading through Europe, like I believe it probably will if we keep sticking our nose in it, I think the Chinese will be the invading force if it comes down to it, because I believe that, say what you want to, you can believe what you want to about Russia, Ukraine. Russia's got their agenda. They don't want NATO in their back door. I know that's not a popular opinion, especially on YouTube these days, because all of a sudden everybody started watching CNN again, and they started listening to this crap and started looking on Facebook and seeing all these pictures of the president actually fighting tyranny when it's all photo propaganda. None of this stuff has actually happened. More money gets laundered through Ukraine from this liberal statehood that we have going on here now, and this liberal control. If this thing keeps going south, we are looking. I would worry more about China than I would anything else of an actual invasion. As far as invasion of the domestic part of our United States, that's already been taking place for many, many years, and they're already going to outvote us. That's already happening. They're outbreeding us. You don't mind my speech on that, and they're outvote.
There's beaverines in the house. They know what's up.
Yeah, I mean, we have been led a lie. Families have been led a lie saying you shouldn't have kids until you're ready. Let me tell you something. You'll never be financially ready to have kids.
Never.
This is reality. And not enough truth, not enough reality gets spoken out here these days. And, it's not a popular topic. People are selfish. This is the way it is. I've got 4 kids. I've done my part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to keep raising our families because it starts in the family.
Isn't it funny, man? I was gonna bring this up anyway. Isn't it funny how throughout the entire pandemic, people, the conservative folks especially, they don't believe mainstream media. They don't believe anything that's coming out. And now that the pandemic is basically over, probably it's got flagged there, and now we're on the war with Ukraine. Now all of a sudden, everybody's believing everything they see and hear on TV.
Right. Well, I'll ride that horse with you, man, because my channel's tagged in this too. Yeah. See, war ends pandemic. That's happened ever since the early 1900s. It's always something that leads to another and another, and it's going to keep on coming. Everything will repeat itself. You got to know your history to know where you're going. And everybody's falling for the trap because it's on the news 24 hours a day, and they believe it. They have to hear it. It's like people are zombies, and they have to believe everything they're being fed.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, a controversial one, but do you believe that our food supply is deliberately under attack? How and what would you do about it?
First of all, America should be supplying America. This is going to cause a little feathers to ruffle. We shouldn't worry about other countries. We shouldn't care. I'm sorry. This is a government. This is a republic of free constitutional people. We should worry about our borders, what's in between them. We can feed and supply our people. The problem is we don't. The problem is we want more and more money. And money is what's caused everything. It's what causes it on the local level, but wanting state funding, and then the state funding wants the federal funding, and then everything gets involved. And then you have multiple different kind of testing and chemicals that they use to put into the food, to put into the supplies. Look, I've done it. I know what goes into it. I know what goes into a cigarette. I raised it for many, many years. You know what I mean? These things are taking place, and nothing will stop it unless we completely unplug from the NWO. But we're not going to do that because this house is burning down.
Yeah, we're already compromised, man.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before we went live. On a national level, we're compromised. But how can you fight back? Local level, right?
Local level is the only way. Only way. The last battle will be fought in the local level.
And you're actually running for office there locally?
I'm running in local office. Yes, I
am. Thank you, Carl Miller. I appreciate it. So I got to ask real quick. I've always wondered this, the name Zombie Farmer. Where did you spin that from?
I've been a farmer my whole life. I've always been of a different kind of mindset than most people around me. When I'm out in public, I watch people. I'm a people watcher. I watch people's movements. I watch how they act. I watch what they wear. It's something that I do. I don't know why. I just always done it. Zombies is what I call them.
Yeah.
And farmers cultivate fields. Farmers raise crops. And you know what? All of these people need a little bit of cultivating. They need the weeds plucked out. Because you can't grow good fruit, you can't grow good vegetables, you can't grow anything unless you get out there and work at it. So I put the 2 and 2 together and came up with Zombie Farmer.
So your buddies, they call you Zombie. They're like, "What's up, Zombie?"
Most of them do.
Do they really? That's awesome, man. Another crazy question as a creator. What is the strangest email that you've ever gotten? Because I know you've gotten some strange emails. We all get them. PG-13 email, I should say.
Man, I mean, there's some crazy people out there. I mean, I don't, some of the stuff, I really don't know. Most of them, I ain't gonna lie to you, I hit spam.
Do you really?
If I try to put them in the spam box, that gets way out there. I've had some crazy thoughts, about snake people, and I'm possessed by all kinds of crazy stuff. I think that the weirdos come out in the comment section and the email section a lot, and they try to attack you, man. Believe me, I've been. It just depends on what you're talking about. Talking about threats, I've had death threats. I've had all kinds of different situations. People don't like it that I'm abrupt. They think I'm cocky, which, you know what? It is what it is. I'm willing to defend my own. I wish everybody that I talked to that watched me had the same kind of drive to do what needs to be done. And if I come across as cocky or have an ego or whatever, that's just the way I am. I mean, I'm me, whether or not I'm on this channel or whether I'm in my living room and they're watching TV. And I know you are too.
Yeah. Well, minus the tie. This is actually, I'm trolling my buddy that watches sometimes. He said it looked too low budget. You know what I mean? He said, you got that many people. I said, well, I'll start throwing a tie on. I don't even have it tied right. But yeah.
I don't even wear a tie. So I mean,
yeah, I normally don't. I've worn one. My wife made me wear one when we got married, and then my friend James, when he got married, I had to dress up again. So yeah. What do you think the most overrated prep is? Like the prep that gets passed around the community that everybody's telling everybody to get? Comms, really. I'm glad to hear that because that's one of my weaker ones. We have a CB radio at the bug out, and then we just have walkies, and that's pretty much it.
I get so sick of seeing people, I got this, I got that. Let me tell you something. When you're in a situation and crap hits the fan and you have a split second and you have to react, you have to fight for your life, you have to scrap it out, your comms will fail. That's coming from somebody who's used them. That's coming from somebody who carries them daily. And you're on your own. And if we're talking about a grid down SHTF scenario, whatever, what the heck you got? You got your comms for your buddies with you. They're going to have the same problem. Everybody gets on the comms talking at once. You ain't going to understand anything going on anyway. Because when you're at a dead run and you're running for 100 yards and you're trying to get to a location and try to get away, you ain't going to have the breath to talk on it anyway. And then you got to worry about range. To me, it's a waste of time. It might be okay. I got a base station set up at the home base, and there'll be one in the vehicles. But as far as carrying one mobily, I will not on my person. It's a bigger worry for my family back at the home place, back at the location, to hear something going on. I mean, I get it. People want to be able to communicate, but when crap's hitting the fan, they'll fail.
Yeah, I think if it's gotten bad enough, societal collapse, I don't want to communicate with anybody. I'm going to have the people with me that I want with me. I want emergency news maybe, but comms, no. H. Cameron, thank you. H. Cameron says, I try to teach those around me talking to deaf ears. Pray for me as a city person. A few months from now, it could be super ugly. It probably will be. I'm not trying to discourage you. For people like me, it's not going to get better anytime soon. You were talking about Russia, Ukraine, man. Honestly, where do you stand on that? Like, what is your position? I know America first, but when you look at Russia and Ukraine, who's to blame? Is it Russia? Is it Ukraine? Is it NATO?
I'm not going to fall for the trap, man. I can't blame Russia on this. I blame the one world government. I blame the one world agenda. I blame NATO, and I blame the UN.
Do you think it's being done, like spun up on purpose to start a World War III?
I do.
That's a solid theory, I would say. That answers the next question. Do you think America will eventually ask? Oh no, do you think the UN's eventually going to come here? Like if there's a World War III, I guess. You think America's going to say we need help peacekeeping over here and sending the blue helmets in? Okay, that's not good. How should preppers deal with that, do you think?
I don't know if I can say that.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
I mean, defend yourself at all costs.
Gotcha.
Defend yourself, your family, and the Constitution, and your freedom, your livelihood, all costs.
Yeah.
Because they are not constitutionally supposed to be here.
Here's a question, Zombie, I get a lot, and I know you've gotten it a lot. I've seen it a lot. How do you encourage people to deal with their family or friends that just won't prep? For whatever reason, they just will not prep. They won't get on board with it.
you can't beat a dead horse, y'all. I mean, when it's I've seen some turn around and actually see things going on, and then for a month or two they're on board, and then they forget about it again. I guess you call them fair weather, whatever you want to call them on that end. But
Somebody just said bye, Felicia.
I mean,
Tell them bye, Felicia.
You have to cut some ties.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to cut ties with all the way, but as far as somebody being in your group or someone you can count on when these events take place, it can't happen. You cannot. I wouldn't. Let me put it like this. I will not bring in anybody who doesn't have the mindset that I do. I won't, because it's compromising your safety, your family safety. You know what you got to do for your family.
Right.
They're going to bring in their family. So if you take in one, you got to take in the rest of them. And then you got to try to change their mindset. And by the looks of things, of how we've been watching this pandemic and everything else that's been going on, people ain't still caught on. And they're not going to. I mean, honestly, we may wake up a few. And I always said, if we can touch one person, if we can save one family, if we can turn somebody's life around, we did our job. But when they're just too far gone, man, I just turn my back. If they ever want to come into the fold, they're going to have to prove something.
Yeah, I agree, man. The only exception would be, I think, and some people are in this. I'm not. I'm blessed in this respect, but spouses who aren't on board with it, Yeah, I do feel bad for those people.
Mine's been on board with it since we got together at 15 years old. And I've always been someone who put back. I've always been the gun guru. I've always had the ammo. I've always done all these things. But as I progressed and I matured and I got older, I started seeing how things was. And I know when Obama took office, I took a picture on my phone. And I was like, this right here is going to be the demise. This will start really, really start pushing the demise of America. And just look and see what's happened since him. I know it started way earlier than that, but the divide, the hatred among people started really taking a toll when he was in power.
And I hate to admit this, man, former Democrat, I actually voted for him for the first time, his first term. And somewhere in there, it wasn't necessarily him. I wasn't overly political, but somewhere in there, I kind of hit the maturity level where I stopped thinking about me so much.
Right.
And I started thinking about, I'm going to have kids one day. Right. What's the world going to look like? And then I made that turn to conservative. And I regret voting for that man. I really do. The family unit, you were talking about this a while ago. Can you speak more on the attack that's on their family unit? Because I think it's happening on purpose. I think it's been a long-term plan for a long time. They're coming after, the mother, the father, the kids. They're trying to confuse everything. And really, biblically speaking, it's pretty cut and dry. And they've confused it, in my opinion, on purpose.
Absolutely. Well, the one entity, and I've said this before, Satan himself, and a lot of people don't like talking about the devil. That's fine. But the man, the entity, whatever you want to call it, he does have power in this world. And he has his hand, his footprint is on all of this by design. And I always said, the devil don't own the keys to his home. Why give him the keys to yours? And the problem is, it started creeping in. It started creeping in where people started getting this mindset that they could do what they wanted to do. They didn't have to live. And there's a good book out there. It's a lesson of the three chairs. And the three chairs is the generations. The first chair, the first generation believed it, lived it, believed in it to their core. The second chair believed in it, but lived in compromise. Said, well, we'll get by if we do this. We like to have that. Maybe we both should work. Maybe we shouldn't whoop our kids. Maybe we should take it a little easier on them. Maybe we shouldn't do this and do that. You go work over here. I know you need a career. You're, all this stuff that has been plugged and played for so long, and then you got the third chair who completely rebels against what the family unit is supposed to be, and that is where we are today. Satan has his hand on it. It was designed to rip apart the family. I know a lot of people probably ain't gonna like this either, but the church is supposed to be the number one line of defense against any threat, spiritually or physically, attacks on anybody. They're supposed to be there to head off any kind of front. And when the family unit failed, the church failed, and so on and so on, and it keeps spreading just like the cancer.
Yeah. I think I said one time before, it's been months back, but I said that America's had a bad diet for a long, long time, spiritual diet and otherwise. And I can remember being in college, and I did a thesis paper on Billy Graham, who used to sell out Major League Baseball parks.
Yep.
And now it's gotten to the point where you can't even talk about it. You know, people get offended, I guess. Thank you, Alicia, and thank you, Dario. But I mean, it's just gotten real bad. And I guess while we're on the topic, how important is spiritual prepping moving into what we're getting ready to move into? Because I know it to me, it seems like we've had prosperity for a while in this country until recently, you know, and people have just kind of, you know how it is, man. A lot of people are lukewarm, and they don't think about it until they're in dire straits. And now that we are hitting a collapse, do you think people are going to turn back to God?
I think, man, today, speaking just truthfully, if the Apostle Paul walked through the churches, they would make him leave.
Really?
Now, I'm using that as an analogy because they wouldn't want his truth. You know, not many people even realize that the Apostle Paul was sent here for us. He wasn't sent here for the Jews. See, a lot of people don't realize that. The letters he wrote out to the churches, everything that he did was to show us, for us to read how to live, how our family should be. Will people go back? Some will, but some don't even know. Some refuse to even listen, to even want to learn about it. I honestly have seen people with no faith in the worst situation of their life, and they still don't call out to God. I can only give my opinion on what I see. If you're sitting there bleeding out and you're on your way close to being out of this world and you're still not reaching out, I know I'd be calling out, even though I just would, because I want to make sure my path is clear, you know, at least to my last breath. But I've actually seen people not, and that bothers me. That I hope that answers it. I just don't, you know.
No, that's a great answer. A bunch of people in chat are saying that Iran, I knew they had fired rockets at a U.S. embassy. They're saying they just hit the U.S. embassy. So guys in the chat, I don't really know. I haven't seen the news, but that's not good.
This happened. This has to do with oil.
Oil.
Straight up. Going to cost the price. They got to have these reasons to keep raising the prices. Y'all, it's part of the plan. Everything that's taking place is for us to keep putting more and more money into it.
What and I know you're spitballing when you do this, but estimate a timeline. Like, when do you think we will see a full-on World War III U.S. involvement, that sort of thing?
If we make it, you know what, man, it's hard because I don't want to be called a false prophet or what people call it.
No, I know. Yeah, it's just a prediction. I tell them I'm not a fortune teller over here either.
No, I'm not either. But if we're looking at the way we're going, I can tell you what, I can probably predict the economy is going to collapse
before.
Before any of that takes place, and then we will head into that World War III scenario because that happened before. You know your history. You know what's leading next. Everything they play has been played before.
Yeah, same playbook.
Yep.
Let me see here. Gornals in Alaska, thank you very much. Zombie, if somebody is brand new to prepping, like if they're tuning in for the first time and they want to learn about prepping, how do you get them started? What kind of advice do you give to a brand new prepper?
I tell them to start off with 3-day supply. I tell them to start off with the basics. Got to have something to heat your water with. And if we're just talking about, natural disaster, your power going out because a tornado hit a power line or a tree fell on a power, you start off thinking small because SHTF is all different scenarios. SHTF could be you totaling your car and you not having the money to replace it. And then you can't get to work. And you see how it keeps building up and building up and building up till you lose your job. You can't pay your rent. Everything happens. I would actually put back enough. I'd start off with a day plan and I would work my way up. Enough food to last for then. You get the 3 days covered. You got your little nest egg back. I advise them keeping cash on hand, even though the dollar will collapse. It's still best to have cash. And I got a little topic on that.
Go for it.
We can do it later. I mean,
I think the U.S. dollar is going to collapse, but it's important that people know the digital, like the financial institutions, will collapse first.
Absolutely.
I think the dollar will still be traded for a little while after. But yeah, dive into it, brother.
I'll tell you this, and I ain't got to bring up the amount or nothing, but every time for about the last month, I've been getting an eerie feeling about doing transactions in my local community. I've been showing up to the ATM. I told my wife, I was like, we went to a Sam's Club and picked up some more bulk items, and we're going to put them in our preps here coming up probably Sunday, either tomorrow or maybe the next day. But I told my wife, I said, let's go get some money out and put it back so we can have cash on hand. We went to 3 different ATMs. Nothing was working. The banks were closed this weekend. They done closed. And I'm like, so we're screwed. That makes you, that's a reality checkpoint right there. That's like, wow. So then I went to make a deposit. And I didn't want to make this deposit. My daughter was with me, and I was like, you know what? I just don't want to put this in the bank. I don't want to do it. This is just being real guy, working guy. Don't want to put his money in the bank. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'll just put it in the bank, just like everybody else does. I just went up, and I had to give my ID to put money in the bank. And I was like, you know who I am. I deal with the same people, you know what I mean? But it was a different teller from a different state. And long story short, the banks changed ownerships, and they said that they had to make sure they're trying to keep an eye on the drug trafficking and this and that. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to give you this now. Of course, I done handed her the money, and I'm standing in line, and I'm like, man, this is getting ridiculous. I've had to use ID to get money out before, but I've never had to use it to put it in. And it just seems like every time you go and you fuss and argue with them, you feel like a Nazi every time you pull up to one of these places. And my advice is keep a cash hand. I know we got off topic, but
that's okay, man. It's because your ID has a beard like this on it, probably. And they're like, man, this ain't the same guy. He done robbed somebody. Yenzer Prepper, thank you. Says, Zombie Farmer, what are your thoughts on bartering trades? Would you take silver or trade for trade or goods? In other words, bartering. What are good bartering items? What are your thoughts on bartering in general?
What we have done, we have took ammo cans, and we have stuck different items in the ammo can. This will only be done at a distance, under surveillance, crosshairs, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, crosshairs, man. Scopes.
And I would only do this if you know them. Never take the chance. The items we have in there, I got a Ziploc bag of a 22 long rifle. There may be 20 shots in the bag. Of course, water, food, aspirin. Well, Tylenol is what I got in that. Basic little medical kit. Just enough for a little bit. We've made little kits that we'll trade with somebody on, or if they need it. Not necessarily we have to trade for it, but that's what we've done. I won't personally take silver. I know silver has its place and gold has its place, and Buddy of mine, JB, knows more about that stuff. But me, on my end, I'm more of the brass guy. I'm the guy who's got the rice, beans, brass. I'm the guy who's got that stuff. I try not to get into the financial world of it because it's expensive. And if you are a prepper on a budget, you don't need to be thinking about precious metals. If
Gotcha.
you are good, I think precious metals is good to have. But don't sacrifice your security, your food source, your water, your medical supplies over precious metals and trying to buy yourself out of it.
I like precious metals, but I don't think it's on anybody's top 10 list. They're not going to be looking for it, first off. So Sailing Prepper, thank you, brother. He says, how do you feel about cryptocurrency?
I'll tell you my experience with that as well.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
And this is all facts. I mean, people can believe it or not. I got in on Shibcoin when it was nothing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It made a heck of a run last year. And I had a pretty decent nest egg built up. And I held it. I didn't do nothing with it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep it there. One day I'll take it out and I may pay something off. May buy a new truck. I don't know. I may do something with it because I didn't have much money invested. I think I had around, I can't remember, y'all. It was hundreds of millions of shares. Okay. I got hit through crypto.com by a hacker.
Oh no.
And he took it all. And when I filed a appeal, I filed the charges. Of course, like they tell you, you're never going to get your crap back anyway. But anyways, I did everything they did. I had to hold up a picture with my ID on it and send them saying it was me. This is me. This is my date of birth. This, all this stupid garbage that I felt like an idiot doing. And I sent all of that into crypto.com, and just to get told 2 or 3 days later that there's nothing they can do. The hackers came through the email, and I lost a lot of money. Now, was it my money? I mean, it's money that was made off the SHIB coin I bought.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I had probably $300 invested, and it was way over that. Like, pretty good little amount.
Enough to make you mad.
Oh, it made me
when
mad.
You lost, yeah. That's Camaro parts, man. Come on.
Oh man, and that's a whole new '69 Camaro. You know what I mean? So I got so upset, I canceled everything out, and I will no longer. It's too vulnerable to attack. And you know what? You know who I blame? It wouldn't surprise me if the government don't have their hackers on there doing that themselves. So if I can't hold it, like a friend of mine, JB, if it ain't in your hand, you don't have it, boys and girls. You just don't. And that's just the way it is.
Farmer Son Prepping, we got to tiptoe around this one. Zombie, would you take up arms against the USG? I'm going to try and answer it for him, and then I'm going to let him answer it. I get the feeling he would take up arms against anybody that tried to take from him and his family during SHTF, no matter what uniform they're wearing. That's me, at least. What do you think, brother?
I'll protect me and my family against any threat.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you a question. This is the last question I got, and then we'll just jump into the lobby. But this is kind of a pet peeve of mine. I hear it around the community. So you'll hear preppers tell people, if you have car insurance, you have life insurance, you're basically a prepper already. But then you'll hear the same people say, well, you're not a real prepper because you don't do it this way or this way. And as you touched on earlier, SHTF can be your car breaks down or you're out of work or something like that. So I think people prep on different levels. The question is, what do you consider advanced prepping versus, kind of basic prepping? What makes an advanced prepper in your opinion?
In my opinion, I guess it would be on the months of supplies you have or the years of supplies you have versus not. I mean, if you're prepping, you're prepping. I mean, I can't, like I said, everybody's situation is different, but I mean, if you got a prepper out there that has 5 years worth of stockpile, security, gold, silver, and got everything, he keep plugging and playing with it, he's going to be far more, advanced than somebody just got 6 months worth. But
got to be protected.
We live in reality. That can be taken away in a day from somebody who only has one bullet in the gun. You know what I mean? It's over. I don't know how you even it's overinflated. people people try to boast way too much into it. It's just about survival, folks. Surviving the best you can. If you think you need it, get it. If you think you needed to go a little bit more, go a little more. You know, it's never ending. It will never end. If you're 20 years old right now and this world makes it another 50 years, 60 years, you're going to be still doing the same thing then. If that's what you're about and that's what you see, you'll be one all the way through.
Folks in the lobby, in the chat, if you have a question for Zombie, if you could put it in all caps, please, because y'all know how I miss comments. Marley says, yeah, my car going out last year was an SHTF. A lot of people during the pandemic who lost jobs and stuff because of mandates, I mean, they're still dealing with a lot, you know, still trying to recover over that. Tom says, I say advanced prepping includes a plan of leaving your home. You know, a bug out. For the most part, Tom, I think that's correct. I think if you have somebody with severe disabilities or you have somebody that's on a lot of medication, they're 90 years old, I wouldn't necessarily drag them out into the woods to try and live. I would kind of bunker in at that point. But again, it depends on where you're at. Go Vols. Al Gore says, are you in Tennessee or something, Zombie?
I am.
Oh, man. Must be a fan from you.
We ain't never going to, we won't ever be back.
The Pokemon Dentist. Question, I rent my house. How to approach an SHTF situation in a rental home? What do you think?
Depends on if the rule of law is still intact. If the rule of law is still intact after an event, that's going to be a civil. That's all going to go to civil court, especially if you don't want to leave. It's a big issue. But if there's no, I mean, if I rented a home, I would do it just like I'm doing now. But just know if things happen and you get evicted or you get the eviction notice because he has to sell that house now to be able to survive himself, just know I would suggest you have a plan before that takes place. That could be a bigger vehicle where you can put supplies in it and go somewhere and stay, or know somebody, family member or something. And that's why community is so important and having different groups. That's what I would do.
Titan 7 says, when are you going to grow your beard back, man?
Can't do it right now. We'll see. That's all I can say.
Moose Lodge, Zombie, where would you live if someone is in transition? I guess if they're moving, where would you advise somebody move? I guess they're talking about within the United States. Like where's some honey hole spots that are good for preppers, safer than bigger cities and things?
I can tell you this: most people from out west is coming to this area. There's still a lot of land you can get in Kentucky that's cheaper. I know Missouri has some cheaper land that you can still pick up. I would go Bible Belt area if it was me. But I don't want to put us on the map, for everybody to come
down. He's like, just go here, stay away from here. Joni says, do you think Elon Musk is part of the setup for the Antichrist or the NWO for the non-religious?
I don't know. That's the digital age. That's at this point, anybody with those kinds of bank accounts, I'm not sure. You can pretty much it's the sky's the limit with people like him. I mean, I really don't know.
Hogs and Guns, I love that name. Is a chainsaw a good investment for a prepper in a suburban location? They're in the suburbs.
I mean, I think a chainsaw is good in any location. I mean, if you got the gas to run it and the oil to run it, I think it'd be good for anything. If you're trying to stay quiet in suburban location, you might want to check on just doing a handsaw or, axe, hatchet. But if you want one, it's all about what you want. If you want one, it's a good investment.
Now, if you're in California, you got a chainsaw. They'll come get you here soon.
Yeah.
Christian says only 3 guns for SHTF. Is there like a certain number that you should shoot for? Just be comfortable.
I know there's a lot of videos on YouTube about that, and I just don't get involved. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I mean, when it comes down to it, if it's red hot, I'm gonna grab whatever I have to get to my other location to where the guns are that I have, in the bottom of the lake, and then I'll figure it out from there after I swim down and get them. I wouldn't. I don't put a lot of emphasis in on top 3 guns or how many mags you should carry or anything like that. You do the best with what you got. Look, if you got a single shot 22 rifle and a pocket full of shells and that's all you got, that's all you got, and make it work. That's where I'm at. People put out videos like that all the time, and it's a cool video to watch. I like watching people's stuff on their take on things, but
just no right or wrong answer, really.
I don't see a right or wrong answer because it's all about what you can afford and what you have. I don't know.
Amber Z says, how quickly do you think CBDC will be ruled out? I'm not sure what she's talking about with the CBDC.
I'm not sure either. I don't know.
Have no idea, Amber. We'll go with 3 months. How about that? I'm just picking. If you could put that back in the chat, Amber. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Alicia says, do you think the ESG, environmental, social, and governance scores are the number of the beast? The social credit score, I think, is what they're talking about. The mark
that China's got going on. Is that
that they're trying to implement it here at some point as well.
Very well could be. I mean, it just depends on if you take the word literally or if you just take it, figuratively. It just depends on how you interpret what you interpret. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, do I think everybody who took the magic potion is marked for death? No, I don't believe that. But I do believe that, one day there's going to be a choice that has to be made, and how they implement it, I don't know. I know as for me, if I'm still here, I just have to take the guillotine. I mean, I don't know. That's something I don't know, and I'm not going to lie to people about it.
OFC Nation's just trying to rile the chat up here. What weapon system does Zombie Farmer prefer, the AK or the AR? Which one do you prefer?
Between the two.
Yeah, AK-47 or AR?
AR.
AR, why?
One thing, in my opinion, it's easier to load. In my opinion, the mag swap on an AR is a whole lot easier than an AK. Now, you can do modifications and you can swap it all. I will tell you, AK is very accurate at long distances. I've shot them at long distances. But as for me, I have consolidated my firearms. Now all my pistols are the same caliber. All my pistols will interchange magazines. My rifles for a SHTF event being ARs, all interchange. The ammo is the same. My deer hunting rifles are the same caliber. Everything that I did, I matched it up to where it's easier to get the supplies for. And honestly, there's people out there that can swap a mag out of an AK versus an AR just as fast, but I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy. So what's easier for me, what I would grab is an AR.
There you have it. The AR is the best weapon by a long shot. Zombie just said. I'm just picking, man. Y'all put him on the spot. Ink Scars. Do you take up arms and go fight or wait until it comes to you? Ink Scars, I think it depends on the situation. I'm not going to get shipped off to Ukraine, you know what I'm saying, to fight in a global war or something like that. But I think if, like he was talking about earlier, boots on the ground from another country here in the United States, I'm cool with fighting that, the UN, whatever the case may be. Protect home base. But again, I don't like the idea of getting conscripted and sent halfway around the world to fight a billionaire's war. Minuteman, we're in a slow burn right now. It's going to accelerate soon. Trying to catch up to all these questions here. While I'm scrolling down, Zombie, if you want to tell people about your channel and the stuff you cover over there.
channel is just
I'll drop the
basically,
link.
folks. I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of change on this platform. There's been a lot of good friends that's come and gone that didn't make it as long, and a lot of people have given up. My channel is about truth. It's about the truth that I see. Anything that I say is about what I believe. Everybody will have to make up their own mind when it comes down to them and their family and their security and their prepping. I talk about a wide range of things. I don't show many prepping videos. Every now and then, to be honest with you, I try to show some of the homesteads, some of the horses. I try to make it, some of it, it's good to relax and get away from just the continued talk of everything we talk about. But it's for people who wants to see a little different side to maybe what they're used to seeing on this platform. I try to make it interesting as I can, but honestly, I just give the blunt truth, straight in your face, shooting from the hip, and that's the way I'll always be. And honestly, if the channel continues, it'll continue, and if it don't, it don't.
Yeah, some people love that, man. It scares some people away, when you're blunt about things, and then other people tend to love it. They were talking about, it looks like central bank digital currency. So I think Amber Z was asking, how long do you think before the reset, the digital deal where they're going to switch and go to cashless society,
I
if you
think
will?
that will be more targeted on the social credit system. I think that instead of it being just like, Bitcoin or anything like that, there's going to be a lot of uproar in that in the comment section probably. But I think it will be more like what China is doing. China has passed us. Okay. I mean, they have passed us on a world scale. What they are implementing across the creek is what I call it, will work its way here. And I believe that will be the NWO agenda. It'll be about who you are, who they say you are, to whether or not you can have something or not, or to be able to function. And that will bring about everything that's biblical, in my opinion.
Big John's asking again, do we think World War III is coming? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a matter of time before NATO gets involved. I think they want people to want World War III so they can go and execute agendas like he was talking about earlier. Let me see here. Somebody's asking about body armor. What level and rating body armor do you suggest?
It just depends. Right here, this is a soft armor. I pretty much wear it. I don't know if I can see it on camera. I pretty much wear it every day. This is stop a 40 caliber handgun. It's supposed to be rated for 44, but I'd hate to get hit with it. Other than that, level 3 plates. Let's face it, folks. You get hit with a high-powered deer rifle, it ain't gonna matter what you're wearing. You're gonna be out of it for a while. That's why I'm always harping on, all these trauma kits and all these things, because you're not. If we're talking about a grid down SHTF scenario, whatever, World War, whatever's going on, like I said, nobody's coming. If you take a violent hit, a fatal blow, and it ain't even got to be a fatal blow right off the rip, you're probably not going to have any help. And you're probably going to, basically, those kits are just to get you a little bit longer, just so you can survive just a little bit longer.
That's one of the big concerns, I think, with people that want to go lone wolf, or they think they want to go lone wolf. Any kind of medical emergency whatsoever, you're in serious trouble.
Right.
Any good American-made gas masks do you suggest or know about? Well, the PD 100 here, I just happen to have it right here. It's good for $100. They're better out there, probably a lot better out there, but not on my budget because I be pole. I ain't rolling in no refinished Camaro here. Somebody said Zombie's a trucker. He used to be a trucker. How long did you drive a truck, Zombie?
A little over 8 years.
What's some crazy road stories, some PG road stories, PG-13 that you can tell here? Or the craziest?
I think the craziest was me traveling down I-65, and just minding my own. I was probably eating a cheeseburger or something. I don't know. I think I was eating. And I come up on this car, and I didn't even pay no attention to it until I realized that the car was actually heading right for me. He was driving down the wrong side of the road. That's a hairy situation because I didn't even realize it, and I guess the guy was probably intoxicated. He was high on something, but I ended up having to I took the median on that one. I went off a little bit, came back on him. It'll make you think twice about some things sometimes.
Every time I pass one of the runaway truck ramps, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, man, I could not imagine being in a truck and having to actually use one of those. Right. I guess they're good, but man, I would be scared to death.
Yeah.
Getting that thing, you know.
It'll change your life.
Outlaw Farm says, Zombie Farmer, can you do a horse bug out pack video?
Yeah, I can. I'll wait till it warms up. I'll wait till I get them out and get them. I really don't like putting my horses on there with all the hair right now because all of them got their woolly hair from winter. And I try to keep them up and do the best I can with it, but I'm going to wait a little bit. Now I'll put one out.
Well, no, I grabbed the wrong comment. Here we go. I'm sorry. Molly says, who did Zombie drive for when you were trucking?
Just a company.
Just a company. A shadow company. He's a zombie. Come on, y'all. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for him? I don't want to keep him here all night. He's a busy man. Brother, I appreciate you coming over. It was short notice. Like, I emailed him a couple of days ago, literally.
And it was nice enough to come on. It took a while to respond. I didn't know really how the birthday party and things was going. And I didn't know if I'd, really would be too tired to do it, but I'm glad we did it. This has been a good live stream.
Yeah, I've had fun, man. Yeah, as soon as I heard birthday party, I thought kids, and I said, "Nah, man, he's busy. He's too busy for this." I've been to a few here. Let's see. Alex the Gamer. Zombie, do you have any single friends? Alex just rolling us into the ditch here.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Jen Boyles says, nice to meet you, Zombie Farmer. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to drop his, I'm sure the mods have, but I'm going to put your YouTube page link down there as well.
I'd appreciate it because back when I know a lot of people, when they got bigger on their channels, they ended up putting a Patreon out there when they got bigger. That way they could have more of a following. I actually created my YouTube channel and my Patreon at the same time. So I didn't want to get on the bandwagon of, you know what, I got big, now I want money. The Patreon was there as my backup channel. That's what I use it for. That's what it's there for. And I've got Patreons that's been with me for over 4 years. We got a good community over there too. That's my two channels, my two avenues. I will throw this in this live stream in case y'all haven't heard about it. I know you probably ain't got the link, but I promised my sponsor that I would put it every video I do. I put his name in here.
Gun Club or something?
Cheapgunclub.com.
Cheap Gun Club.
Y'all, he's selling out. I mean, he's already been slammed because I warned him that as soon as I started doing this that he would sell out, but got really good prices on his ammo and guns. So
that is awesome. Sailing Prepper says, what do you think about a sailboat for a bug out vehicle? I've told him I think it's incredible.
Sounds fine to me. I actually think your probably safest spot will be on a lake somewhere or wherever you're at. I mean, on the water will be a good location. So that's cool.
I'm going to finish the stream up, guys. I'm going to tell you, I've already told Zombie, but how I got introduced to his channel. He really does have an awesome channel. So last year at the Super Bowl, our channel got a week off. I was talking about trafficking, how it's a busy weekend for that. And it's something I really care about, rescuing these kids and stuff. And during that week of timeout from CommieTube, one of the viewers over here said, hey, have you checked out Zombie Farmer? So I went and checked his channel out. And the first video I clicked on, he was talking about our kids and how, we need to protect our kids. So it really is a good channel. If you haven't checked him out, again, he's here on YouTube. I'm a huge fan of his. I got to ask before we go, brother, how fast was the Camaro going for the intro?
80 miles an hour.
80 miles an hour. It looks faster than that, man.
I know. I get hit with that a lot on here. I was like, no, I wouldn't go that. I had my daughter actually filming me coming down the road. I was like, I ain't gonna get too fast. But,
and I feel so bad. I thought it was a Trans Am for like a month now.
Right.
And I'm looking again today. I'm like, no, that's a Camaro.
Right. I will say this on the channel end. I have probably between 400, 500, 600 videos. But when you go to my YouTube channel, all those videos are not there. I put all of my content on other places and get them out because when they started flagging people, I started rearranging the channel and it kept the algorithm. I mean, it was incredible. New people started coming on and I moved things around. And then all of a sudden I'll pop up a 4-year-old video and put it back on here just to mess with them. That's how I do it. Some of my videos will be a beard. Most of them these days will not. But I
John at the Prepared Mind basically had to do the same thing, go and blank all of his videos off. And it's unreal because I still get comments where people think we're making this up and they don't flag anything. And I'm like, y'all just don't understand, man. They hound on us here in the prepping community. They hate us talking about America or patriotism or anything like that. They really don't like it. But brother, thank you very much for being here. Thanks everybody for being here tonight in chat. It was awesome. A reminder for you folks on Patreon, we're doing a private stream on Tuesday night. But until I take Sundays off, so until Monday morning, y'all take care.